All right, grab your popcorn and keep it warm, because this one has more layers than a Christmas trifle and just enough royal spice to make your eyebrows rise. And while you're settling in, make sure you're subscribed to Royal Report 24/7, tap like, and share this story, because what you're about to hear is one of those moments royal watchers say you'll want to remember. Because according to reports and royal insiders, Prince George quietly stepped into the spotlight this Christmas, joining his father, Prince William, at the Passage Charity. And what happened there is being described as far more meaningful than a simple festive visit. Now, on the surface, it looked charming, sweet even. A future king serving Christmas dinner alongside volunteers, sleeves rolled up, listening carefully, smiling shyly. But insiders suggest this moment may carry far more weight than a ladle of gravy and a polite thank you. And as always with the royal family, nothing happens in isolation. Sources say this appearance is unfolding against a backdrop of quiet tension, careful messaging, and subtle power moves involving King Charles, Catherine, and yes, even Meghan, despite the thousands of miles between them. So let's take this step by step. According to reports, Prince William arrived at the Passage Charity with Prince George by his side, not in a grand motorcade moment, but in a deliberately understated way. Insiders claim that was intentional. No flashy cameras, no dramatic announcements, just a father and son stepping into a space long associated with William's late mother, Princess Diana, who famously supported homelessness charities throughout her life. And that connection, sources say, is not accidental. Royal commentators suggest Prince William is slowly, carefully introducing Prince George to the values behind the crown, not just the pageantry. The message, reportedly, is service before status. Now, those who were present claim Prince George didn't just stand there smiling for photos. He helped volunteers prepare and serve Christmas dinner, listened attentively to instructions, and appeared genuinely curious about the people he met. One insider even joked, politely of course, that George seemed more focused than some adults twice his age, and that's where the speculation really begins. Because royal insiders say this wasn't just a sweet family moment. It was a signal. Some suggest Prince William is consciously shaping George's public image early, quietly contrasting his upbringing with the turmoil that has surrounded other branches of the family. And if that's true, the timing is interesting. According to reports, King Charles has been keen to emphasize continuity and stability during his reign. Yet insiders whisper there have been differences in approach between Charles and William when it comes to the next generation. Charles, sources say, favors tradition and patience. William, on the other hand, reportedly believes visibility, empathy, and early connection with real people are essential for the monarchy's future survival. And Prince George at a homelessness charity on Christmas Day? That ticks every box. Now, where does Catherine fit into this? Royal watchers note that while Catherine was not visibly present at the event, her influence was felt everywhere. Insiders often describe Catherine as the quiet architect behind moments like these. Carefully planned, deeply thoughtful, and never accidental. Reports suggest she believes strongly in grounding her children in normal human experiences, especially ones involving compassion and service. And those close to the Princess of Wales say she's particularly protective of how George is introduced to public life, preferring meaningful actions over grand speeches. Some even speculate that this moment mirrors Catherine's own approach to royal duty: steady, warm, and emotionally intelligent. But here's where the story takes a more dramatic turn. Because while this was happening in London, royal commentators claim the contrast with Meghan and Harry's approach to public life could not be more stark. Sources suggest that across the Atlantic, Meghan has been focusing heavily on brand building, visibility, and controlled messaging. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with that, insiders say the palace is acutely aware of how different these paths now look to the public. One commentator joked, half-jokingly, that while one side is perfecting lighting and camera angles, the other is perfecting how to carry trays of Christmas dinner without spilling the gravy. Funny? Yes, but also revealing. Reports claim palace aides view moments like Prince George's charity appearance as a form of soft power. Not confrontational, not defensive, just quietly effective. No speeches, no statements, just actions that speak for themselves. And according to insiders, King Charles is watching all of this very closely. Some claim Charles is deeply proud of George, seeing echoes of his own early public engagements. Others suggest Charles may feel a subtle tension, as William's modern approach sometimes outpaces the king's more traditional instincts. But make no mistake, say royal sources, this is not open conflict. It's more like a chess game played with smiles and handshakes. And then there's the public reaction. Social media, according to reports, lit up with praise. Many commenters described Prince George as natural, polite, and surprisingly composed. Others noted how relaxed William seemed. Watching his son interact with volunteers and guests, point one insider claimed William looked less like a future king in that moment and more like a proud dad thinking, okay, maybe we're doing something right. But not everyone sees this as purely innocent. Some royal analysts speculate that moments like this are also designed to reset the narrative surrounding the monarchy, especially after years of controversy, family rifts, and uncomfortable headlines. And speaking of rifts, insiders say Meghan's name still looms large in palace conversations, even when she's not physically present. Reports suggest that any positive coverage of William and George is inevitably compared, fairly or unfairly, to Meghan and Harry's ongoing criticism of royal life. And while no one is officially responding, sources say the palace believes consistency will ultimately speak louder than interviews. In that context, Prince George serving Christmas dinner becomes more than a feel-good story. It becomes a statement of values. Now, let's zoom out for a moment. Historically, royal heirs have often been shielded from public duties until much later. But insiders say William may be intentionally breaking that pattern, gently, cautiously, and with purpose. They point to Queen Elizabeth II's early exposure to duty during wartime, suggesting William sees early responsibility not as pressure, but preparation to vie, and, according to those close to the family, George himself is said to be curious, observant, and increasingly aware of his role, even if he doesn't fully grasp its scale yet. One source joked that George knows he's important, but still argues with his siblings over who gets the last biscuit, which, frankly, feels reassuring. Now, what does all of this mean going forward? Royal insiders speculate this may not be the last time we see Prince George involved in carefully chosen public moments. Not frequent, not overwhelming, but purposeful. And if this approach continues, analysts say it could gradually shift public perception, not just of George, but of the monarchy itself. As for Meghan and Harry, sources suggest they remain focused on their own path. But the contrast is becoming harder to ignore. And King Charles? Insiders say he's walking a careful line, supporting his son's vision while maintaining the dignity and traditions of the crown. Which brings us back to that Christmas dinner. A simple room. Warm food, quiet conversations, a young prince learning firsthand what service actually looks like. Royal watchers say moments like these don't make history headlines immediately, but they echo. They shape character. They build trust. And they remind people why the monarchy, at its best, has endured. So as the plates were cleared and the guests thanked, insiders claim Prince George left that room changed in small but meaningful ways. And perhaps, just perhaps, the future of the monarchy walked out with him, holding his father's hand. And if this is the direction William and Catherine are taking, royal watchers say we're only just beginning to see the story unfold. So keep your eyes open, keep your curiosity sharp, and stay right here with Royal Report 24/7. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you're subscribed, hit like, and share it with someone who loves royal stories as much as you do, because the next chapter is already quietly being written, and you won't want to miss it.